Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Kissinger, and this is 5th grade math, module 3, lesson 1. We're going to be making equivalent fractions with the number line, the area model, and numbers. So I know you guys might have learned a little bit about equivalent fractions in 4th grade. We're going to go a little bit deeper into it, and we're going to use kind of an area model, like a visual representation of it, to help us understand it a little bit better. I'll show you what I mean right here. So if you look at the directions, it says use a folded paper strip to mark points 0 and 1 above the number line. I'm just going to write my numbers on the number line. It's just basically just wants to have you space them out evenly. And I'm going to do right in the left side of this one, 0, halves. And then we have halfway down the number line, right in the middle, is going to be 1/2. And then at the end of our number line, we'll have 2 halves. The beginning here, above the number line, I'm going to make a 0, because 0 halves is 0. And then right above 2 halves, I'm going to put a 1, because 2 halves is 1 whole. The next direction tells us to draw one vertical line down the middle of each rectangle, creating 2 parts. Then shade the left half of each. Partition the horizontal lines to show the equivalent fractions 2/4, 3/6, 4/8, and 5/10. Use multiplication to show the change in units. So the first one, they have that part, the second part done for us. What it's asking us to do is to draw one vertical line, a vertical like an up and down line, on each one of these boxes here. All right, so all those boxes are cut in half, just about. I know some of my lines aren't exactly in the middle of those boxes, but we're going to imagine that those boxes are all split in half. Then our next step is we need to partition or split up those horizontal lines to show different fractions. So our first box here, and I'm going to use a red pen for this so we can see the difference between my horizontal and my vertical lines. I know I never really want to use a pen in math when I can help it, but I want you guys to be able to see a little bit better. So I'm going to split this right in half, just like this. And you know what? I missed the direction. Shade the left half. So I need to shade this half here of all of these boxes. So we have 1/2 shaded here. 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. Now, if we look at this box number 1, I put one horizontal line across the middle of it. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, and 2 of them are shaded. I just split my box into 2 more parts. I didn't shade any extra parts of the box. I just made a fraction that is the equivalent fraction to 1/2. 1/2, I split the top into 2 groups, or I multiplied by 2. And then I split the bottom into 2 groups. I multiplied by 2. So I multiplied by 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So we're going to do that for the other boxes, except for our next box, we need to make 3/6. So 3/6 is also equivalent to 1/2. This time I'm going to split my box into 3 horizontal lines. Well, I'm going to make 2 horizontal lines and split it into 3 sections, top to bottom. And now, hey, look, I have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces all together, and 1, 2, 3 of them are shaded. I'm going to do this so we can see how many pieces we have. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have now sixths. So if I say 1/2 equals, well, I have 1 times 3 and 2 times 3, and I get 3/6. The next box wants us to split vertically into 4 parts. So we need to make 3 horizontal lines to split into 4 parts. I'm going to put one right down the middle to make things a little easier on us. And I'm going to split each one of those into halves of the half, which would be a fourth, a half of a half. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes. I have 8 boxes and 4 of them are shaded in. So I have 4/8. 1/2 equals 1 times 4 on the top, 2 times 4 on the bottom, and I'm going to get 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8. I have 4/8. Finally, these ones are going to get really small. I need to make 5 sections vertically. I need to make 4 horizontal lines here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 boxes and 5 of them are shaded. 1/2 equals 1 times 5 over 2 times 5. And that's going to give us 5/10. So 1/2 equals 3/6. It also equals 4/8. And it also equals 5/10. Those are all equivalent fractions. As you can see, those boxes are all the same size. The shaded parts are all the same size. And the unshaded parts are all the same size. It just depends on how many pieces we're splitting that box into will determine how we're going to name that fraction. Now let's look at some other equivalent fractions. So I'm going to look at this number 2 here. This time we're splitting our boxes into thirds. So I'm going to start by splitting these into thirds. Still have to do my number line as well. I'll split these into thirds first though, so we can get ready for this step. All right, I'm going to label my number line on the top first 0 and 1. Because we know all these fractions, they're not improper fractions, they're not mixed fractions, they are all going to fall between 0 and 1. When the numerator is smaller than the denominator, then that fraction will always be between 0 and 1. If there's no number before it, I guess the only exception to that would be if you have a number before it. If you had like 1 3/4, well, 1 3/4 is the same as 7/4, but we're just taking that 1 and we're making it a whole rather than making it a fraction. So as long as there's no number preceding it, if you have a fraction where the top number is, the numerator is smaller than the denominator, the bottom number, then that number will be between 1 and 0. We know we can make our number line between 1 and 0. So this number line we have to split into 3 pieces. So I'm going to do one about a third down my number line, about another third down my number line. And right here I have 1/3. Well, we'll start with 0/3. 0 is 0/3. Then 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3 equals 1 whole. Now we need to shade again 1/3 of each of these boxes. So we can find fractions that are equivalent to 1/3. All right. So I have to make my 1/3 into 2 parts horizontally. So I'm just going to split it in half this way. Then when I count my pieces, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 pieces altogether, and 2 of them are shaded. So 1/3 equals 1 times 2 over 3 times 2 equals 2/6. 1/3 and 2/6 are equivalent. This one I'm going to split into thirds horizontally, so it'll be split into thirds vertically and horizontally. If I write in my numbers, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I have 9 pieces. 1/3, still 1/3, 1 out of 3, equals 1 times 3 over 3 times 3 equals 3/9. We have 3 boxes shaded and 9 total parts. 3 over 9, 3/9. Next, we have four sections vertically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 pieces altogether. 4 of them are shaded. The shaded portion is 4/12. 1/3 equals 1 times 4 over 1 or 3 times 4 equals 4/12. And finally, look at this box right here. We're going to split into 5 pieces. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 15 pieces, and 5 of them are shaded. The shaded portion is 5/15, which is equivalent to 1/3. 1/3 equals 1 times 5 over 3 times 5 equals 5/15. There's everything right there. So anytime we multiply our denominator by something, as long as we multiply our numerator by the same number, again, we're splitting everything in half, the shaded pieces and the non-shaded pieces. So our numerator, we're making more pieces. So if our numerator has more pieces, our denominator also has more pieces. Those numbers will be equivalent. So we can do, our numerator and our denominator by any number. If we did, it would be a lot of really small boxes, but we could do 1/3 times, or 1/3 equals 1 times 100 over 3 times 100, and we could have 100 over 300, and that would still be equivalent to 1/3 as long as we're multiplying our numerator and our denominator both by the same number. 100 300ths is still 1/3, because 100 is 1/3 of 300. So that's where we're going to stop for today. I figured that a visual representation would probably make this a little bit easier as we move forward. And in our next lesson, we'll continue to work with equivalent fractions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and look forward to seeing you next time.